Hey everyone, back for another video. Before we get started on flashes and all about them, I would like to say that I've got a lot of videos that I uploaded to Patreon and a lot of the business side of real estate photography, such as building a portfolio, building a website, billing, how to market real estate agents, and things as well as drone usage for real estate photography and some more on the outside of the house, the exterior using a flash. So make sure to check that out. Now, one of my Patreon subscribers asked for a tutorial about flashes, about how we use flashes for real estate. So that's what we're going to focus on today. All right. First thing I'm going to go over is what I don't use. And that is a flash like this is the Canon 600EX2 RT. Perfect for weddings, taking pictures of people, things like that, because this utilizes TTL very well. And let's just keep things simple. TTL means that the flash is communicating with the camera, and the flash has got brains, and it's turning up the flash or turning down the flash based on what it's metering through its internal gadgets here that we don't need. Another example here is the 600EX RT by Yongnuo. It's just another version, but it's a flash I would never use for real estate photography. So what do I use for real estate photography? Well, I use a cheap, and I stress the word cheap, Yongnuo YN563. I mean, they're on 4, they may have 5 by now, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I've had these 3s for, I think I've had this one like for 4 years. I use it on every photo shoot. It's never failed me. Now, the reason I use this flash is for a couple of reasons. Actually, let's go over 3. 1, it's cheap. 2, it's dependable. 3, it's got an internal receiver, okay? So that means I don't have to attach a Pocket Wizard to it to make this work remotely. It's already built in here. If I use a Yongnuo trigger to trigger this, it works flawlessly. I've had no problems with it whatsoever. And I'm going to call it a dumb flash. Now, the reason I call it a dumb flash is I'm using it in manual mode, which means that if I want it to get brighter, I'm going to have to set that myself on the back of this. So if I want it brighter, I set it. If I want it darker, I'll set it that way. So I don't want this on the camera. These TTL type, they need to be on the camera most of the time to work correctly, unless you use some fancy Pocket Wizards or other triggers that work with TTL. Again, not really saying you should use this for real estate photography. Save your money. This flash is about $400, and the cheap one that we use for real estate photography that works really well is about $40. The triggers that I use, I'm going to have to read this, I haven't looked at them in forever. 603C2. Trying to do this without glasses on. All right, so these, 2 of these are around, I think it's like $30. Okay, now this Yongnuo talks to this Yongnuo flash very well. Okay, there's barely anything in the setup to get these to talk to each other, and it goes off without fail over and over again. Never had any problems. Now, I have used Pocket Wizards. That's how I got started. And for some reason, I'd get into some homes and there'd be interference and it wouldn't work right. I've got the realtor on one side of me looking at me like, would you please hurry up if something wasn't working right? Homeowners probably thinking, who's this idiot they just brought in my house to take photos? Very embarrassing. Once I switched to this system, I haven't had a problem, I don't think, one time. All right. So again, about $15 a piece, or 2 for $30, $40. Okay, let's go over a couple more things before I show you the settings and things like that. I have this flash right here that you'll see me with all the time. It's the Godox 8200. This is the one that I'm moving all over the place. I keep on a holster. People have asked what kind of holster I use. It's a cheap one I bought at Home Depot or Lowe's. I don't even remember which one it was. But anyway, I think it's supposed to hold nails or something like that. But it holds this flash fairly well. I'm using this in manual. This can be used in TTL. As a matter of fact, I've got a trigger for this that works in TTL, but I don't use that for real estate photography. I trigger this with the XT32C. Yes, the C means Canon, and so does this trigger. Yes, this is a Sony 6500. It works on the 6500 if you want to know. So that's why I'm using the Canon version. It works on the 6500 flash. All right. Now the way I make the Godox flash and the Yongnuo is this. On top of the camera, I have this one right here I just showed you, the 603C. All right, it's sitting on top of it. And then on top of that, I have the XT32C, all right? This Yongnuo is triggering this flash. Okay, the top one, the Godox, is triggering this one, all right? Now, I first bought this one, okay, for Godox, put this on there, and you can see it has a hot shoe attachment on the top. Put it there, and then stuck the Yongnuo on top of this, okay? It did not work very well, and it also killed my live view in my Sony. So, what I found that works is this setup right here. And I don't remember the price of this, but I'm going to say it was around $30 for the XT32C, C meaning Canon again, even though it's a Sony camera. All right, this setup works phenomenal. The Yongnuo I'm using, you'll see this cord here, all right, going into the camera, and this is a 2.5 millimeter lead going in to the Yongnuo. Had to get that online. What that's allowing is two different things. I'm using the second Yongnuo as a trigger, meaning I'm not touching the camera, clicking the button, or setting an irritating timer that, you know, gives you a countdown for 2 or 3 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever you have it set to go off. I simply press this button. It talks to the other Yongnuo, and it's going to talk to your Yongnuo flash, okay? Because this cord is in this trigger and going into the camera, that triggers the camera to go off as well. Because this Yongnuo just got a signal to go off, it makes the XT32 go off, which triggers this flash. Sounds very complicated when I say it like this, but it's pretty easy. It works every time. I love it, and I've never had a problem with it, and it's extremely cheap. Even the camera's extremely cheap. And for those of you wondering why I'm using not a full frame camera, I've had no problems at all using a crop sensor for real estate photography. If I was going to do it for a commercial shoot, I may go to a full frame one of my other Canons, but for real estate photography, I am 100% sold on a cropped camera. Keep it cheap, people. All right, so now we're using the flash, all right? Now I'm going to turn this on real quick. All right, doubt you're going to be able to see that from over here. But we've got different settings, and I'm going to go over the settings in manual mode, okay? We've got 1:1. This is just kind of like using a pi. 1/1, that is full power. That means when this gets triggered, it is at full capacity, all right? When I bring this down to a half, that's half power. I'm going to bring that down again to a fourth power. That makes it even less lit, okay? It makes it not as bright. Okay, my next setting on here is an 1/8 of a power. Then I go to a 16th. You can tell where this is going, 32nd. To a 64th. Can it go? I thought it got lower than that. To 1/128th, which is very, very dim. Not much of a flash whatsoever. Use those in really tiny rooms, very rarely at 1/128. But anyway, what I'm going to do is, whenever I use these, is I manually set these to whatever I think it should be. Now, I can't magically tell you what it'll be. I can tell you that whenever I go into bathrooms, I tend to stay at a 16th of a second. What I do like to do is think of a starting point. The bigger the room, the more of a flash I potentially need, depending on the circumstances. So as a starting point on a bigger room, I might go with a half power. If it's a smaller room, again, this is all subjective. What's a smaller room? You'll figure this out real quick. Let's just say a bedroom, all right? I might start at a 4th power. And like I've already told you, for a bathroom, I automatically go to a 16th of a power, which usually works. So I'm manually changing this and then using dumb triggers to set them off. So there's no other thinking other than what's going on in my brain. I am setting these all manually, and I'm not using any TTL whatsoever. This allows you to keep your gear cost low. Everything's very dependable because there's not a lot of a technical gear going on here. And I mean, I've used most of the same gear now for 4 years. I've used this a little over a year and a half maybe. But it works every time. I hope this helps. Again, go on my Patreon page and find more videos. And again, especially on the business side. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.